sub-item 16B, decision-making in the UNFCCC process. At the first meeting of the COP, I proposed consultations to be conducted by Mr. Omar al-Breiki, a senior member of my delegation. I would like to thank Mr. Omar for his work. He informed me that the parties agreed on the importance of this issue, but there continues to be diverging views. This matter will therefore be included on the provisional agenda of the next session in accordance with Rule 16 of the draft rules of procedures being applied. Delegates will now convene the 5th meeting of the CMP. This meeting of the COP is adjourned. I declare open the 5th meeting of the CMP. At this meeting, the CMP will consider draft decisions recommended for adoption by the CMP. The order in which the agenda items will be taken up is posted on the screen. I invite the CMP to consider agenda item 2D, approval of the report on credentials. In accordance with Rule 20 of the draft rules of procedure being applied, the Bureau has examined the credentials and submitted its report. The report on credentials is contained in document FCCC/CP/2023/10, FCCC/KP/CMP/2023/8, FCCC/PA/CMA/2023/14. Based on the report of the Bureau, I invite the CMP to accept the credentials of parties attending the session contained in document FCCC/CP/2023/10, FCCC/KP/CMP/2023/8, FCCC/PA/CMA/2023/14. Hearing no objections, it is so decided. I invite the CMP to consider agenda item 3B, report of the subsidiary body for implementation. You may recall that the SBI, at its closing plenary meeting, recommended that the CMP take note of the report of the administrator of the international transaction log under the Kyoto Protocol, contained in document FCCC/KP/CMP/2023/6. I propose that the CMP take note of the report. Hearing no objections, it is so decided. I invite the CMP to consider agenda item 5, matters relating to the clean development mechanism. I invite the CMP to adopt draft decision entitled Guidance Relating to the Clean Development Mechanism, contained in document FCCC/KP/CMP/2023/L.2. I hear no objections. It is so decided. I invite the CMP to consider agenda item 8, capacity building under the Kyoto Protocol. This matter was considered by the SBI as reported in document FCCC/SBI/2023/10 and CORR.1. I invite the CMP to consider agenda item 11, report on the high-level ministerial roundtable on increased ambition of Kyoto Protocol commitments. At the first meeting, I proposed that informal consultations be conducted by Ms. Iman Ustadi of my delegation. Unfortunately, I have to report that there is no consensus on the way forward on this issue. Pursuant to Rule 10C and Rule 16 of the draft rules of procedure being applied, this item will be included on the provisional agenda for CMP 19. Hearing no objections, it is so decided. I invite the CMP to consider agenda item 12, administrative, financial, and institutional matters. The SBI recommended 3 draft decisions for adoption by the CMP under this agenda item. I invite the CMP to adopt the draft decision entitled Administrative, Financial, and Institutional Matters, contained in document FCCC/SBI/2023/10/ADD.1. The other draft decision, also entitled Administrative, Financial, and Institutional Matters, contained in document FCCC/SBI/2023/L.14 and /ADD.2, as orally amended by SBI 59 at its closing plenary, to remove the reference to FCCC/SBI/2023/INF.12 revision 1 from footnote 3. The draft decision entitled Budget for the International Transaction Log, contained in document FCCC/SBI/2023/10/ADD.1. I hear no objection. It is so decided. We will now convene the 5th meeting of the CMA. This meeting of the CMP is adjourned. I declare open the 5th meeting of the CMA. At this meeting, the CMA will consider draft decisions recommended for adoption by the CMA. The order in which the agenda items will be taken up is posted on the screen. I invite the CMA to consider agenda item 2D, approval of the report on credentials. In accordance with Rule 20 of the draft rules of procedure being applied, the Bureau has examined the credentials and submitted its report. The report on credentials is contained in document FCCC/CP/2023/10, FCCC/KP/CMP/2023/8, FCCC/PA/CMA/2023/14. Based on the report of the Bureau, I invite the CMA to accept the credentials of parties attending the session contained in document FCCC/CP/2023/10, FCCC/KP/CMP/2023/8, FCCC/PA/CMA/2023/14. Hearing no objection, it is so decided.
I invite the CMA to consider agenda sub-item 3A, report of the subsidiary body for scientific and technological advice. You may recall that the chair of the substar, Harry Bruce, reported on the work of the substar at our 4th meeting last Friday. The substar recommended a draft decision for adoption by the CMA under this agenda item. I now invite the CMA to adopt a draft decision entitled 6th Assessment Report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, contained in document FCCC/2023/4/Addendum 1. Hearing no objection, it is so decided. I invite the CMA to consider agenda item 7, reporting and review pursuant to Article 13 of the Paris Agreement, provision of financial and technical support to developing country parties for reporting and capacity building. I invite the CMA to adopt a draft decision entitled Reporting and Review pursuant to Article 13 of the Paris Agreement, contained in document FCCC/PA/CMA/2023/AO2. Hearing no objection, it is so decided. I now invite the CMA to consider agenda item 8, matters related to adaptation, sub-item B, report of the Adaptation Committee and review of the progress, effectiveness, and performance of the adaptation. I would like to inform the CMA that the consideration of these matters could not be completed by the subsidiary bodies at this session, and that the matters will be included in the provisional agendas for SB 60 in accordance with Rule 16 of the draft rules of procedures being applied. I invite the CMA to consider agenda item 11, development and transfer of technologies and implementation of the technology mechanism. Joint Annual Report of the Technology Executive Committee and the Climate Technology Center and Network. On this matter, the subsidiary bodies have recommended a draft decision to the CMA for consideration and adoption. I invite the CMA to adopt the draft decision entitled Enhancing Climate Technology Development and Transfer to Support Implementation of the Paris Agreement, contained in document FCCC SB/2023/L10. Hearing no objection, it is so decided. I invite the CMA to consider agenda item 12, capacity building under the Paris Agreement. This matter was considered by the SBI. In addition, as you have just heard, the COP has recommended that the CMA adopt a draft decision entitled Terms of Reference for the second review of the Paris Committee on Capacity Building. I invite the CMA to adopt the draft decision entitled Annual Progress Report of the Paris Committee on Capacity Building, contained in document FCCC/SBI/2023/L19, and the draft decision entitled Terms of Reference for the second review of the Paris Committee on Capacity Building, contained in document FCCC/SBI/2023/10 at 1. Hearing no objections, it is so decided. I invite the CMA to consider agenda item 16, administrative, financial, and institutional matters. I would like to propose that the CMA endorse the decision adopted a short time ago by the COP entitled Administrative, Financial, and Institutional Matters as contained in document FCCC SBI 2023/10 Addendum 1. Hearing no objections, it is so decided. Dear delegates, this brings us to the end of the meeting of the CMA. The meeting of the CMA is now adjourned.
Thank you very much. The meeting is ended.